Hey everyone! So on today's agenda is to get the entire front deck completely winterized, or as close to completely winterized as possible. So things I need to do. I need to bring all of the terracotta pots inside, figure out where I'm going to store them inside. I need to, so the water I've already turned off inside the house to the faucet on the two decks, the front and the back. I need to drain it, detach all the hose pieces first, then drain it, bring the hose inside, figure out where to store that. Then I need to move all of the remaining perennials, so my rose, my blueberries, my raspberry, my ronia berries, and what else do I have up here? Oh, and my two rhubarb plants. Those I'm gonna move all over together in one corner. So I think, oh, I also might need to move in some drip, but I think that's kind of what's on the agenda for today. Let me go kind of take you around and show you how things look right now. Starting here on the cart, so I need to bring all of these pots inside, and also all of these pots, because all of these are terracotta, and I expect that they will break if I leave them out in the winter. This stand here where I had my herbs, I left outside last year. I think I'm actually going to get a different stand for next year, but I'll still use this somehow in the garden. This is one of those things where if I was going to try to keep it in the best condition as possible, I should move it inside somewhere, but I haven't, so it's staying outside. Garbage can stays outside. The cart itself, I was planning to move inside, but it's just, you know, it's large, and since we are redoing the rooms right inside where I would keep it, I would have to find some other place for it anyway, so I think I'm just going to get a tarp and throw it over the top and kind of secure it around. So I think that's going to be the plan for this cart, and I should look up on the website if it is made to stay outside during the winter. So moving right along here, this bed is now empty of all the pots. I'm going to bring in the black irrigation system here, which is the Carpathian system, because that I think I'm going to reconfigure next year, but the Proven Winners, which is the beige tube, I'm leaving out because that is all around the garden. It's like nailed into the beds in some cases, but it's basically in place. And I left it outside last winter as is, and it's been fine. I think Garden Answer leaves hers out, so that makes me feel like I'm allowed to do it, but I don't think her winters are as bad here, but I left it out last winter and it was perfectly fine. Roll up the hose, and like I said, get all this drained and get my hose splitter inside. And then here are the plants I have. So that's the aronia berry, that is the rhubarb one, rhubarb 2. Peas I'm going to leave for now because they still look good despite falling off the trellis. This is not getting cleaned out this year. These are all done for the season. And then over here I have the rose, 2 blueberries, and the raspberry. And because it's still been so nice, I mean, I don't even know if looking at this one, you would really know that we are in fall. The leaves are just barely starting to get some color on them, so it feels odd moving them, but we are close enough to winter that I'm going to do it anyway. And then I guess this grow bag is empty, so that can come inside. So I'm just gonna get to work. I think I'm gonna start with the hose because that should be the easiest to kind of take care of, and then we'll get things all maneuvered around where they need to go. So this is the hose splitter that I used this year. Last year I had one that just had like split it into 2, but now because I have more drip systems and my hose, I used this one that splits it into 4, but you can turn on and off whichever faucets you are using. It worked really well. It feels heavy duty. I got it from Amazon, so I'll link that down below. I think on the back deck I'm just going to stick to my 2 hose emitter, because I don't think I'm going to have as much kind of connected back there next year, but who knows, we'll see. I might pick up another one of these, but this is getting stored inside with all of the rest of my like drip timers, so I took that off, I took the batteries out, and all the other hose splitters that I have. So that's coming inside. Let me know if you do anything else in the wintertime to kind of protect your hose spigots. We haven't had really any issues. The only issues we've had with ours is our home is 20 years old. I don't think anything had ever been replaced, so there were some broken pieces of the handle that we got fixed, but I know the plumber also mentioned there can be like foam boxes that go over hose faucets to give it a little more insulation, but again, I don't know if we've ever really experienced an issue, but should we be extra safe? So let me know if you do anything extra in the winter for any of your hose spigots. The cart is now empty of all the pots, and if we come inside here, I've laid a towel out, and this is where the pots are, I don't know, sitting for now. There's a couple more I need to grab from the back deck. I'm hoping these don't have to stay here all winter, but I don't know where else I'm gonna put them, so we'll see. I need to do some maintenance on this pothos plant at some point, but that is for another day. I was actually thinking if there was a way I could stack them somewhere, probably against a wall where it would still look pretty, so it could almost be like the terracotta pots were part of the decor. I wouldn't even mind if I had like more storage and shelving, having them open on shelves. I think that looks really pretty, but I don't know exactly how to go about doing that. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I tried to look up on Google like terracotta pots as decorations, but I was either coming up with just photos of stacked pots or painted terracotta pots. So if there's any ideas that you have as far as storing these in a way where they're gonna have to be out in the open, but they look pretty, let me know. Now, I think it might be time to start moving around the pots on the deck. While moving the raspberry bush, I noticed some dead branches, so I'm going to take care of a little bit of pruning right now, and I'm using these like anti-poke gloves, which I really only use for the raspberry or the rose, but I still think it's worth it because I don't like getting stabbed in my hands, and that happens even when I wear regular gloves. So I'm going to do a quick little prune, and then we'll get all the rest of the stuff moved over. Mostly just either completely dead or really small branches that I pulled off there. Okay, so two things. One, I feel like I should have worn either sunglasses or goggles because I almost poked myself in the eye with a branch moving these pots around at least 3 or 4 times. Second thing, the blueberries are too heavy for me to move across the deck, and I don't want to drag them because they are in ceramic pots, not plastic pots, and I think they could definitely scratch up the deck. So let me show you how everything has kind of ended up. So starting in this corner where I moved most of the plants, I just shifted the cart over a little bit, put the shelf behind it, and then back here I have raspberry, rose, aronia berry, and then the 2 rhubarbs. They're all in plastic pots, so It's not like any of the pots are more insulated than the others, but I did put the rose in the corner to give it the most insulation because I love it the most. So that's what this corner is going to look like. I still can't believe there's that much green and pink back there. But then over here, I just shifted the table, and this chair thing I'm going to move around. Typically, I just cover the table and bring the chairs inside, but again, with redoing the upstairs, not really knowing if there's much room to kind of put these for the winter, I'm thinking I might leave them out and then tarp everything, but I'm not sure yet. That is TBD. And then over here are the two pots that I cannot pick up and carry. So I was able to scooch them carefully to get them a little bit closer to one another. But other than that, they are not moving. A few things about the blueberries. So both of these, no, one of them, this one overwintered last year, and I just left it in that same spot and it did fine. Although I do think we're getting a little bit of a harsher winter than last year. And then this one, I think I just planted this spring, if I'm not mistaken. The raspberry bush I also left over here last year, and it was fine in its plastic pot. These are in ceramic pots, which they look really pretty, but that means they're much harder to move around. And I think if I was kind of gonna go back, I would put these in plastic pots as well. Even though I really love the look of these pots, I think it's more important to be able to move things around up here than for them to be aesthetically pleasing. I don't think I'm gonna repot the blueberries though at any point in time, but like if one dies, for example, maybe I'll clean out the pot and make it an indoor pot, or a pot that doesn't have to move anywhere. So blueberries are staying here. I think I'm gonna add some insulation. My thoughts are, because I don't have any grow bags left filled with dirt, those are all in the greenhouse, but I think what I'm gonna do is, on the back deck we have a like love seat, sofa, and then a chair. The love seat's gonna stay out there in front of the greenhouse. I think once I'm ready to kind of cover the chair, I'm gonna move that to this deck and then put it like right here in front of the blueberries, just for, again, a little bit of extra insulation against the weather. I do though think these walls up here do help quite a bit. And then here is what we're looking like on the rest of the deck. I can't believe how full it was and how empty it is now. Every year that surprises me, but what else is surprising me is how beautiful this fall bed still looks. Again, I think the cold weather is going to change that very soon, but it's just absolutely full of color still. And I love the pansies and how close I planted them, because it really is just like a carpet of color. So that is beautiful. We have the peas here. I'm gonna leave the sunflower trellises, I think, over the winter, just to, I don't know, add some structure out here. And then, oh, I need to put that back on the metal can, which I use to cut up like my garden waste, and then put it in the composter. That's on the back deck. My gloves, my pruners, which I am not leaving outside. And then I need to still bring this hose in, but I'm wondering if my solution is just like tarp everything. If I tarp this and leave it outside, would that work? Let me know. I feel like it's bad to leave hoses outside, so I probably shouldn't, but I might leave it outside at least for the next couple of days. So let me know if you do tarp your hose or anything like that, just because it would make things easier to be able to leave as much as possible outside on the deck for the winter. Okay, so I think that is everything for today. I think I always go into garden cleanup projects thinking they're going to take a lot longer than they actually do, which I guess is nice overall. But yeah, just looking around and seeing how empty it is a very strange feeling, but I know it's going to be full of plants, hopefully in what feels like a very quick time. So we got to get through winter, and then spring starts and we get to start our seeds. So that is what I'm looking forward to. So thank you so much for following along today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.